Hi besties, I'm Dana. This week I wanted to create a look inspired by a beautiful creature that means a lot to me, the butterfly. Full of symbolism, I even have some tattooed. It's also my logo and for good reason. The butterfly represents evolution and growth. With that said, let me show you how I created this look I call Metamorphosis. Starting out, I want this look to feel fantasy-like, so I'm adding purple contacts that I feel looked very fairy-like to get that effect. Then using a clear eyebrow gel on my brows because I want to keep them simple and clean. I like brushing against the brow hairs before combing them in place to really get my product in there. Once I have those down, I'm prepping some of my materials just to have them ready. I'm using these metallic powders from Mayron because, like I said, I want this look to look unreal. These are so cool because all you have to do is mix these powders with a mixing liquid. I'm using this one by Ben Nye that turns the powder into a liquid, leaving this crazy metallic effect. I need a base first though. I'm priming my face using the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Primer and pairing it with the Luminous Silk Foundation because this combo gives us a very skin-like radiant finish. I love using foundation puffs to apply my makeup because it conserves coverage even on lighter weight foundations like this one. For the cheeks, I want an almost Barbie pink, so I'm going in with this liquid blush by e.l.f. because it's extremely pigmented. And since this is a fantasy look, I want that type of drama. But don't worry, I'm going to show you how to still make it look seamless. Once you apply the blush with a brush, take your concealer and lay it out with a flat concealer brush going inwards towards the blush. Then use a stiffer brush to blend it out. This is going to help us feather out our blush and make it look wearable. I love going back in with my blush brush to re-intensify where needed. I'm going to set it with a pink tone translucent powder because I want to keep the pinkish undertone. Re-intensify where needed and do the other side. The reason I set each side one at a time is to avoid unnecessary creasing. While you're working on the other side without setting the first, you're just letting the creases settle excessively. Also, don't forget to set the rest of your face. I'm using a pressed powder for the rest to add coverage. On a brush though, to avoid cakiness. Like I said, I want drama, so I'm layering this blush by T-Fit. It's the perfect pink tone and comes with the cutest puff applicator. Now, diving into our metallic liquids on a thin detail brush, I'm going to warm them up on the back of my hand and start creating my first wing. Literally. I'm alternating between the silver and gold, layering them because I want to make it look like a gradient, and that takes a lot of playing back and forth, overlapping with the colors. I'm very messy with it because unlike liquid eyeliner, these powders are actually very forgiving. You can easily sharpen and clean them up using a brush. Because they're a powder, they almost flake off if you scratch at them with the brush, but it's cool because they're actually very long lasting if you're wearing them out. Here I am mapping out the shapes I like and rectifying them as I go with my concealer brush. I'm just worried about getting the main idea down because we're going to be filling in these spaces anyways and going back over our lines later. Think of it like a rough draft. I have my face chart I made of the main silhouette I liked as reference, but you never know how things will translate from paper to face, so play around as you go and don't be afraid to go off script. Now using this blue shade from the ColourPop Elsa palette, I'm filling in some wings halfway before using a pink and purple from the ColourPop Sailor Moon palette to meet the blue and each other halfway to start creating mini gradients inside the spaces I just made. Don't worry about being too perfect because a shimmer shade will always help blend. Using shade Festivate from the R.E.M. Beauty Aussie and Forest palette, I'm applying it across everything because it has a beautiful shift that reflects the color underneath, making this beautiful ombre effect that just looks magical and preserves the colors underneath. Once that's down, I'm reapplying my metallics more intentionally now, which is easier because we had made a rough draft earlier, so I know exactly where my placement should be. Then using my 3 ColourPop shadows on the bottom lash line to create another gradient going from pink to purple to blue in the inner corner. I made the blue into a cat eye and brought it inwards to add structure to the look. Then adding this almost frosty gold to the lid because to me it looked like the perfect in between of our metallics, and the brightness brings contrast and attention to the center of our eyes. You should totally get the Sailor Moon palette if you want great variety. I'm making sure my blue didn't get lost before going back into our line work, but this time on the bottom. I'm going to use the exact same technique of going with the flow and referencing my face chart to freehand my bottom wings. I started from the outer corner and made sure to make a line almost mimicking a lash line because I felt like it looked better that way and gave my wings a real place in the look. I'm adding the same gradients, shimmer, and retracing my lines just like I did on the top wings. I also added a gold swirl that overlaps my wing because I thought it'd look cool. That's one of the things that I didn't map out on my face chart but felt right in the moment. I personally think we're looking pretty, so let's catch up the other side. Okay, now that was pretty magical. Now I'm applying some mascara to my top and bottom lashes. The Lash Without Limits mascara from Essence is one of my all-time favorites because I love that the brush lets you get super close to the roots of the lashes. I'm going to apply highlighter, but first using some setting spray because it'll make it that much more prominent. Today I'm using ColourPop's Vampire Skin Super Shock highlighter on my highlight points, including my inner corner. This is from their Twilight collection. Obviously, it's the perfect choice because we already added a frosty gold to the lid. It's only fitting that we also add a frosty silvery white. For the lips, we're sticking with ColourPop and using their lip liner in shade Little One and using MAC's Viva Glam V Luster Lipstick, topping it off with REM Beauty's Glossy Balm in shade Fembot. Now I'm taking some silver rhinestones and adding them around our wings. I'm just winging it, literally, and adding them where I feel that they would look right, and I'm using lash glue to apply them and some tweezers. Now I'm taking the longest eyelashes I own because I felt a butterfly look deserved sky-high lashes, and I'm gonna curl them and add mascara to the ends to really make them look like they might just fly away. Look at how magical this look looks. I hope you guys love this look as much as I do. My happy place is creating elaborate creative looks like this one for you guys. Make sure to follow me across platforms to see my looks and behind the scenes. I'm Dana Belen across everything. Make sure you subscribe to join my beauty universe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye besties.